Sometimes a little change is good, no? It gives you the opportunity to move ahead in life, to grow and discover, to reach new bolder milestones, while still holding true to everything you stand for. IDBI Federal has now changed to AGS Federal. It's the same old company, but with a bold new outlook.
मुंबई में बैठ के कोलकाता से गुड़ का रसगुल्ला, आहा, यही तो जीवन।
जस्ट माई रूट्स, लालच को पंख लगाओ, किसी भी शहर से खाना मंगाओ।
Hello and welcome to this very special edition of Backstage with Boria with Team Lucknow. Finally, I have Mr. Goenka to give me the team name. There's Gautam Gambhir. He and I have been talking. I've been telling Gautam almost 2 months now. Gautam, interview. And he's like, yeah, wait. And of course, KL Rahul, the captain. So it was a very, very close friend of mine. So Mr. Goenka, first things first, what's the name? You've been dilly-dallying for months. Give us the name.
No, I've not been dilly-dallying. We had a contest with fans. And we really wanted fans to decide on the names. And we were waiting for responses, which were overwhelming. Lots and lots of people responded. And the most popular name as it came out from the fan poll or the fan survey is the name that we've decided to go ahead with. And the name is Lucknow Super Giants.
Okay, so it's Lucknow Super Giants is the breaking, the name of the team. Continuation in a sense from what Mr. Goenka's team was about a few years back. But I love counter history, Mr. Goenka, you know that. So let's fast forward 3 months. You have just done well. Gautam and KL have been able to get you the title. So which tattoo of KL will you take? You have the option of taking one. Take one tattoo.
Firstly, I'm not a person who emulates anyone. And secondly, I'm not a tattoo person. But if we get to the title, celebrations will be on for sure. And there may not be tattoos.
Good fun. Okay, Gautam, welcome. Obviously, I'm going chronology. KL has been the last signing, so I will go to the captain in a moment. Gautam,
In fact, you should go to the captain. He's the flag
bearer.
No,
you first give me this.
He's the main man. He's got to win us the title.
Obviously, he is the main man. He is the main man, so the main man gets the last say. So tell me, you've won titles with teams before, Gautam. This is a new challenge for you. How are you looking at this challenge, going into this role as mentor?
I'm very excited. And first, I have to thank Dr. Goenka for giving me this opportunity. Absolutely excited, thrilled, and absolutely honored to be working for a man like him. So again, I think more importantly, the respect which I have for Mr. Goenka is incredible. So it's always a great pleasure working for someone like him. And at the same time, really excited because this is where you feel alive as well. This is where this is where the action is. You win, you've got so many emotions going through you when there's a game when you're playing a game. So obviously really excited, and that's exactly, I hope that we can see again. We don't want to take this excuse saying that it's a new franchise. I think the franchise is new, but the players who we're going to select will be old. They have already played the IPL. So I'm someone who's really looking forward to it, and I hope we can actually deliver on our first year with the franchise.
KL, he's already put pressure on you. No new franchise, but old players. You played the IPL. He's not an easy mentor to have. But welcome as captain. First thoughts on Lucknow, working with obviously Mr. Goenka and Gautam.
Yeah, very excited myself. Look, I don't think many people from my time of playing cricket will have this opportunity to build a team from scratch and be a part of something like this. So I had no second thoughts. I jumped on it straight away. I had a couple of conversations with Sanjiv sir before, and his passion for sport, for cricket, and he, the way he spoke, I understood that he really understands a sportsman's emotion, which is really, really important. Being part of the IPL for a few years now, that the 2 months can be a very emotional ride for players, and it's very important for the owners of the team to understand that and be supportive of the players having those 2 conversations, I was convinced that this is the team that I want to be with, and this is the team I want to continue to play for as long as I'm playing IPL. And obviously Gigi coming in as well. I've always been an admirer of him and how he's captained KKR when he played, and his aggression. So there's so much to learn from him as well. So I'm very excited about this journey. And yes, the auction coming up in a few weeks' time, which is making me a little nervous. But that's the exciting part of the IPL. So yeah, fingers crossed.
I was reading some of our WhatsApp messages, KL, just before this interview, and 2019 same period. I have this message from you saying, yes, I'm not part of the test team, Dada, but I will come back like a phoenix. Test match captaincy has come your way, vice captaincy has come your way. Now the leadership of Lucknow has come your way. Quite a transformation, man. I mean, 3 years, you are sort of everything coming very fast. Are you overawed, feeling the pressure, feeling the opportunity, excitement? How is it? Everything's going for KL Rahul all of a sudden.
I wouldn't say that. I'm coming out of 4 losses as captaincy, so I won't say everything is going my way. But yes, I'm not without being too brash, I'm not surprised, or I'm not. I don't think that this has all come very fast, because I had to be really patient early on. There were years where I just had to sit with the one-day team, T20 team, and the test team, and just keep waiting for my opportunity. And that's the time I worked really, really hard on my game, on getting fitter as a player. And now that the opportunities have come, I've the time that I've spent outside being frustrated and missing out on those years of playing for the country, I really wanted to cash in and make it count. And really happy with how things have gone. But these are things that have happened and gone, and I have to look forward and continue to keep putting up the same performances with the selectors and BCCI have been have shown so much faith and given me the leadership role as well. So that's a bit of added responsibility for which I want to work even harder and try and do my best and lead by example.
Okay. Mr. Goenka, I'm sure you've picked Gautam's brains on this also. Why KL, Stoinis and Ravi Bishnoi? Obviously, your 3 retentions. What was the thought process?
Well, it was something that we had intense discussions on. The only one which was a no-brainer was KL. And once KL agreed, then KL, Gautam, myself, our CEO Raghu, Andy, we had several discussions on who the other 2 could be. And I think it wasn't too difficult to zero down on these. We wanted players with who could do more than one role. So KL is a wicketkeeper and a batsman. Marcus is an all-rounder. Ravi is not only an outstanding spinner, but he's somebody who also will save you several runs on the field with his fielding. So these are players with more than one skill. And so the first 3 retentions had to be players with more than one skill. It was Gautam who actually told me, and I think very sensibly so, it was not something that had occurred to me earlier, that go in with an uncapped player so that you go in with a higher pool for the auctions. And I did not, that was not, to be honest, in my earliest scheme of things. And
Okay.
yeah, and then when he told me this made a lot of sense to me.
So Gautam, I know from if I take from there that you don't want to talk about auction strategy. I didn't. He did. Mr. Goenka did. So what was your thought process when you advised Mr. Goenka about Ravi? Don't give me auction, but you've said
Obviously,
this before that several franchises even now have not won an IPL title. So even if you win one, you are right up there, and within a couple of years you can get to the top. So how are you approaching the Lucknow job, Gautam? How do you want to shape this team as mentor?
look, I think it's a great opportunity to create a legacy and create something which has never been created before. And we don't want to copy anyone. We don't want to have anything saying that we got to copy X, Y, or Z. We need to have our own template. We need to have our own legacy as well. And what better than when you have no baggage? And I'm sure, I think Sanjiv sir, obviously, when he had Pune, they missed probably winning the title by 1 run. So we hope, all of us hope. In fact, it's going to be a great challenge if we can finish that unfinished business as well. But then we can't promise it's going to happen in 1 year, and it's a long-term prospect as well. It's not going to be something like we're going to think only for this particular year. And Ravi Bishnoi, from that point of view, made a lot of sense as well. He's young, he's a wicket-taking option, and he's got to be a show-shot guy playing in the playing 11. He can bowl at different stages of the game as well. More importantly, he's an uncapped player as well. So from every sense, it made a lot of logic for us to actually get him on board so that we can actually develop him going forward as well. If anything, if he keeps his head on his shoulder, he's only going to get better from here on. And plus, going forward, if you see most of the leg spinners, I think he's probably the youngest of the lot and probably the most talented of the lot as well. So from that point of view, yes, we've got a present and plus the long-term strategy as well going forward. So hopefully, it's going to be a good journey going forward.
Before I go to KL on Ravi Bishnoi, because he's captain Ravi in Punjab, Mr. Goenka, and also his thoughts on Marcus. A word on where you prefer the IPL, because clearly from the owners' meet, we understood that most of the owners prefer India. Yes, you will miss your fans in Lucknow because it will probably be Mumbai and Greater Mumbai this particular year. So your thoughts on that? Mr. Goenka?
Frankly, the BCCI has an unenviable job. It's a COVID environment. They have to, and there's a limited window. They have the World Cup later on in the year in Australia. So these are the only possible dates. They have to make sure that COVID doesn't infiltrate IPL. And therefore, they have to look at the safest possible auction. I think what most of the people said and felt was that let's leave it to BCCI. Everyone prefers to have it in India. And that's the first option. If not, wherever BCCI feels they can hold it comfortably, we'll be happy to go along with it. And it's up to the BCCI. They will take a call, I presume, in the next 2-3 weeks, depending on the COVID situation. But we are with the BCCI. I mean, it's very difficult to take these decisions.
Okay. KL, you captained Ravi Bishnoi in Punjab. And obviously, I mean, you've seen, played with Marcus Stoinis. Your thoughts on the retentions? And I know you can't give too much away. Whatever you can give me on the auction strategy. How do you approach a mega auction like this? Nothing like this has happened before for years.
Yeah, not for me as well, because this is the first time I'm part of the big auction. I was with Punjab as captain, but we went into only smaller auctions, and there were only 2 or 3 places that we needed to fix, which wasn't really that hard. But this is a lot harder. The idea behind Stoinis and Bishnoi, I think, is very simple. When you're trying to get 3 retentions, you want to get like 3 pillars sorted. You have an opening batter in me, you have an all-rounder in Stoinis who can bat number 5, number 6. So we've seen that in Big Bash, he's even opened as well. So he's a very flexible player. He gives you a 6th bowling option as well. And Ravi Bishnoi, like Gautam Bhai said, is very exciting. He's young. He's a wicket-taking option. And we've seen in the history of IPL that wrist spinners have done really, really well. And wrist spinners in this auction, again, whoever is available will be hot. So we felt like, getting all of us would give us a good start as a team, and then we can build around it. Yes, Marcus I've played with in Punjab as well, and he's a very committed player, and he has a great energy around the team. He's a brilliant team man. So one of the best all-rounders going around right now in limited overs cricket. So I really wanted Marcus to be part of the setup, and Bishnoi played with him, and he has a big heart for a youngster who hasn't played for the country or hasn't played too much IPL cricket. He showed a lot of heart. He wasn't scared to be in a fight. He wasn't overawed by the international batters he used to bowl to. He wanted to be in the fight. He wanted to bowl to the likes of Pollard and Russell and Hardik, Rishabh Pant. Whenever they came in, he said, "Bhaiya mujhe bol do. I want to get their wicket." So that's the kind of attitude you like in a player, and he's a young guy, and I know I can see him playing for the country for a long time, and also playing for India really soon. So it'll be good for us to be part of that journey for him and support him as much as we can.
Gautam, one of the things that stood out about you when you captained KKR was, your leadership. Whether leading from the front, aggressive leadership. I'm sure KL will benefit from having you there as mentor as well. Talk to me about your philosophy of leadership. How is it different from captaining maybe an Indian side, and when you sort of work closely with somebody who's leading India, on the verge of leading India? How does that chemistry work?
It's been very different. When I captain, I've always said in 7 years that I don't want players thinking of playing for India. I want players thinking of playing for the franchise. Playing for India is just the byproduct. If you think of playing for India and you start saying that Lucknow gives me that platform to play for India, that you're being dishonest to the franchise. But if you want to play for Lucknow and deliver it for Lucknow, eventually you'll end up playing for India. So I probably in those 2 months, I would not want any of the players saying or thinking that my job or my ultimate aim is to play for India. Their ultimate aim for those 2 months is to win the tournament for the franchise. And if they look to do that with their performances, they'll eventually go on to play for India. And IPL is not a platform to go on to play for India. IPL is a platform to showcase your talent to the world. And that is how players should think about it. And that is exactly when I was captaining the side, I made it very clear on day one that I don't want any such thing or any such conversations having around the group that our ultimate aim is to play for India. 2 months, only franchise, the franchise which is paying you, franchise which is giving you the platform to express yourself. Your commitment should be towards the franchise. Eventually, after 2 months, you can think about what you want to think about.
This is why you like Gautam Gambhir, Mr. Goenka. I mean, clear, straight talk. Good. But I know you won't give me much. But, give whatever you can. When you approach a mega auction, you've also not been part of any of this when you did Pune. So what are your thoughts? I'm sure you're preparing your back end and all. How do you approach a mega auction like this?
With an open mind, with a plan, but completely open mind. There will be moments in those 2 days when you'll have to think on your feet, when it's not going to go as per the way you want it to go. So you'll have to think, you'll have to respond, you'll have to act fast. So there will be certain decisions which will be based on logic and data. There might be a couple which will go on instinct. I remember it was when we were doing the Pune auction in the second year, and there was a question of Ben Stokes. And the analyst had told us that he is not somebody who's consistent in his temperament. And the ECB will only allow him to be there for 12 games. And I was looking at his track record of winning games. And I said, you need to win 8 games out of 14 to get into the playoffs. If he can deliver 5 games for me, that's my job more than 50% done. So I went for broke on Ben Stokes. And I forget exactly what we paid. It was 15, 16. I don't know what it was. Some in those days, reasonably high sum. Or whatever it was some reasonably high sum in those days. And Ben Stokes actually delivered 5 games and almost a sixth game to us. And so it was not a decision which was based on logic. The coach said, don't go beyond 10 crores for Ben Stokes. That's the ultimate. But it was that instinct at that point in time, and that paid dividends. So sometimes it's not only logic, it is a little bit of instinct. And I think that is what sport is. In fact, that is what anything is.
Okay.
You know,
I'll take it from there, Ken. What he just said is actually a corporate leader talking. 56,000 plus employees, market cap of 50,000 crores with tremendous success talking. Is your leadership instinct? Do you take leadership calls by instinct, impulse, whatever you sense? How do you approach your captaincy, KL, be it by franchise cricket, be it Indian team?
To be honest, I think the more I'm captaining, the more I'm realizing that the more instinctive calls I'm making, I'm getting more, I'm getting better results. So yeah, I mean, you know, you try and read the situation of the game best possible, and then you know you really rely on your instinct. I'm somebody who will rely a little bit upon data as well. I do a little bit of homework before the game and try and sit with the analyst and see if there are patterns or there's a matchup or something like that. But after that, on the field, it's all instinct and what you feel is the best thing to do, what is the best call for your team in that particular situation.
Okay, last 3 minutes on the show, because Joinil has given me a cutoff at 12:58, and I'll stick to that. Joinil, I know you're backstage watching. Mr. Goenka, to you. You know, huge focus on you. 7,000 crores, highest cost. KL 17 crores. People are talking about highest paid, etc. So in many ways, the focus is on you. What is your take? I know you are a very hands-on owner, but at the same time, there will be a lot of freedom for KL and Gautam to run the team. How are you going to approach Lucknow? Because clearly a lot of focus will be on you going forward.
Well, I think we would want to focus on delivery, on performance, on being competitive, and to enable that, to create an atmosphere in the dressing room that is conducive. You know, it's not oppressive, it's not intrusive, it's in a way inclusive, and people should have the freedom to go and express themselves and not be scared of failing, because you may fail. I mean, as long as your rate of success is more than your rate of failure, then the percentage of succeeding will become more and more. I experienced that in a small way with football also, with our experience with football. And you can't be scared of making difficult decisions. So sometimes you have to take difficult decisions. You take them and then live by them. And I think what I can promise to our fans is that we will give a good team. And the team will give their best. The rest is up to Uparwala.
Gautam, team will give their best. Fearless cricket is what I'm getting from Mr. Goenka. 1 minute to you, last 1 minute before KL has the last word. Will you be under pressure? Because you've delivered in the past. You've moved away from active cricket. You've been in commentary. You've had your mind spoken out. But now Gautam Gambhir will be criticized again. If your team doesn't deliver, we will criticize you from the media standpoint.
That's fine. I think you guys have all the right to criticize me. That's fine. But it doesn't bother me one bit. My job is to get the best out of the players, give whatever support I can to KL and the entire support staff. Our job is probably to be backstage and try and give them as much freedom as we can to go out there and express themselves. This is up to the media. You can't control 130 crore Indians. They can criticize me as much as they can. It would not bother me one bit. Ultimately, our job is what those 20-25 people can do for the franchise is all that matters to me.
But are you confident enough in year one? You confident enough going into the job?
Is it for me?
Yeah. You.
Oh, absolutely. I've answered this question earlier as well. The franchise is new. Players aren't. Players have had the experience of playing the IPL for some franchise or the other. So this is not going to be an excuse. We're not going to get this excuse, or you guys should not ask me this question that is it the first year for the franchise and that's the reason. No, I think you guys are out there to probably compete and try and probably win the IPL.
KL, last word to you. Clearly, I mean, KL Rahul of 3 years back, yes, learning in leadership, all of that is now past. Now, KL Rahul is the future, is the present for Team India and for the franchise. So, pressure. How will you might have to take some hard calls? Ready for the grind, ready for the challenge.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I've always wanted this. I've always wanted to be in positions like this, and I love being under pressure and love performing under pressure. And yeah, looking forward to it. IPL again, we know the 2 months can be a massive roller coaster of a ride, and but yeah, like I said, we have a huge opportunity to do something very, very special, and along with Gautam Bhai and Sanjiv sir and Andy, we'd want to create something very special.
Okay, Mr. Goenka, you've given us the team name. When are you giving us the logo?
Very soon, very, very soon.
So break
It's
it on this
almost
platform,
done.
okay?
That is for my team to decide. That's not really for me to decide.
Okay, I'll end there. I'll end there, Team Lucknow. Mr. Goenka, I know your commitment to sport is serious, and that is why for the last 7, 8, 10 years since I've come to know you very closely, I've enjoyed that kind of commitment. Gautam, I know, is one of the most intense people you can come across. In fact, there's the commonality here. KL Rahul, one of the most intense. Gautam Gambhir, one of the most intense. Sanjiv Goenka, committed to a job. So when 3 such people with intense commitment come together, good things happen to good people. Hopefully, Team Lucknow Super Giants now will deliver for its fans. I wish you guys all the very best. We'll follow you all very closely and the auction. Thank you very much for the first time talking to me. Mr. Goenka, KL Rahul, Gautam Gambhir, appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dada. Thank you.
Pleasures, man.
It's gone to short cover.